want to show you where the boat's at right now. Of course, it's sitting right here. You see it. That's where it's at. Talking about, I want to show you where the work stands right now. So yesterday, Joel and I started fitting this. So I started fitting it by myself, and then he didn't have nothing to do. And I said, you know what, just come over here and help me. And we started marking out, and we had to do some fine cutting. Now, I know to you it just looks like a straight cut across top and bottom, but actually it's not. It goes and it kind of curves down a little bit right there, then it kind of swoops up back there, and then here this is in a little bit of an arch and gets bigger down towards the back. So there is a little complexities to fitting that in there. And then I went back upstairs working on some staircase stuff with them, helping the boys, and Joel continued on and made this piece, which was a little bit more straightforward. It didn't have as many complexities in it as the back piece did. None of it's really bad, and none of it's that difficult. So then over here today, I told Joel, you know, if you don't have nothing to do, just go ahead and start fitting these. So today Joel helped me, even though I've been doing most of this work by myself. Joel is helping me at the moment, and he made this piece here, and he's currently working on this one, which they're on break right now. Actually, they're coming back from break right now, and he'll get this. So that's the deal on that. And I spent some time, Cap just left a little bit ago, and I spent more time sanding on all of this frame down both sides and everywhere, straightening up a bunch of this. I tell you what, the guy that made the slipper, I don't know what he sawed it with, but you see those lines? Those were big old heavy ripples all the way starting from the front all the way down through here. Big old heavy ripples across whatever they used to saw with. And I mean, it was rough. And I've already been sanding a lot of it down. And just think about that. That is drag in the water. Those big old ripples, they were deep grooves. That is drag in the water, because your water can't slide on that. It's really gripping it, causing turbulence down in there. I mean, I know it's ain't a speedboat, but still, you want all, you just don't want any drag. You know, you don't want all, you want no drag. You want as little drag as possible. So I had that flapper disc that's there on the drill right now. I was really working that down and getting all those little grooves out there. I need to work it a little bit more. And then this slipper, Joel and I straightened it up last year working on this boat a little bit. They really had it zigzag like a snake down through there, and we had to take a lot off one side, but it still wasn't enough. So I've been taking material off this side right here to get it back centered. And then back here where I started sanding is because it's wide out over here on this side also. It's out of whack, so it's sticking out too far over here. So too far over there, then too far over here. So knocking that down, and we'll get on to the next thing. Now I'm going to, these sheets on the back side, I'm going to put resin on them, which would be, you know, like fiberglass resin. I'm going to coat the back side of them, not with glass, but with the resin on the back, and let that set before we put the sheets on. Then when we bond the sheets on with marine epoxy, they'll already be all sealed on the back so that it's not, you know, just paint and getting soaked with water and all that. I'm really going to make sure these sheets are sealed all the way around the edge. But I plan to completely remove this paint from here to here. I'm going to completely remove it, because when we put these sheets on, then on the outside, I am going to resin this and glass this going from the edge of the slipper here, and that's got a lot of marine epoxy. So going right off that marine epoxy there, I'm going to resin that and glass it all the way to right there, all the way around. And just a lightweight. All right, well, I'm gonna get busy here putting resin on. Now, I've got some brand new resin, but I'm wanting to use up this stuff that I had in my garage back in the US, and I sent it here before, and I've been using some of it even right now, using it on the bulkheads and this boat and all. So first thing I want to do is use up the rest of this before I open up the new resin that I just bought up here in the city. And instead of those little squeeze tubes with drops for this, the exact same chemical makeup for it, which you can read here in the instructions on the back, is the exact same thing that I have right here. So I have some of it in a small bottle right here that I poked a hole because you want to count drops. So basically 10 drops to 1 ounce. Now, the deal on that is when I put 10 in this warm weather like this, it seems to go off a little faster than I want it to. I don't have as much work time, so I have to either make small batches, lots of small batches, or I may have to cut it down if I can to 8 and make sure it catalyzes well. And also I'm using these little Coke bottles to kind of measure with, you know, up at the polymer place, what they call it, where you can buy resins and stuff at here locally. They don't have anything to measure with. So this is 190 mils. Total, it's about 6.5 ounces. So I've been cutting it off a little bit below there and doing like a 4 ounce mix at a time. And that's all I had to measure with right now. And I want to make a little good timing when I do this. So I put a coat of wax inside this tray, waxed it, so hopefully any residual resin I can easily peel out of it without much effort at all. Bought these rollers and a bunch of extras so I can make good time on rolling this, because I do have a work time to deal with before that goes off. It starts hardening, builds heat, gets thick like jelly. You know, you only got a workable time on it. And I need to be ready to roll a sheet, set it over, roll a sheet, set it over, roll a sheet, set it over. So I don't need any lag time in between. And it also saves you from wasting so many rollers, because if you mess around too much, it's going to start going off and setting up in your roller. And then you're going to have to get another one, and it starts driving up your cost of your project. I know it's easy to go, well, it's just a cheap roller, but add it up over the entire project, the money starts adding up. So you need to be wise and prepared and ready to work a pretty good amount of material before you do that. Now, you don't want to mix too much material because it will cook off. So I don't want to like fill this thing here up, you know, with a whole bunch of resin and mix it and all. It's too much. So what I want is small batches like the size of this right here. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and have resin poured in several of these. So my sister-in-law is going next door to mom's store over there, Melinda's mom. She's got a sorry store. People buy drinks and stuff there, drink them, throw bottles in the trash. So she's going over to get me a bunch of those right now. I'm going to go ahead and cut the tops off of them. And I'm going to go ahead and fill several of those up to the level that I need in order to put hardener in. And then what I'll do is just quickly then count off the drops of hardener, put it in there, mix that batch, get it rolled, be ready to do the next one. all the sheets for one side coated on the back side with resin. May come back over it with another coat. Got writing on them, as you'll see right here. I've wrote on them and all, and you can see that right through the resin. But this will get painted afterwards, so you won't see that once I paint it. But I got all that done, and I had a little bit of stuff left in the roller, so I grabbed one of the pieces that's going to be for the outrigger canoes that I'm building, and went ahead and coated the edges and got a little thin coat on it, and I can coat it again later. But I was just trying to get all I could out of that roller that was saturated up in it and not waste it and put it to use somewhere. And speaking of the roller, it's cooking off pretty hot over here right now. Man, that joker is hot. So it's reacting in it, and that thing will be a brick here in just a little while. As far as my little cup measurements, let me tell you about that. So they were a little undersized for this mix, but I just didn't want them to cook off real fast. They're actually okay in size. I mean, you wouldn't want to mix something like this all at one time, because that will get hot and cook off. So you want small batches. But I finally had to put hardener in 2 of the cups at one time, so I didn't have to run back and forth. And I went ahead and mixed 2 there at the end at one time and was able to pour both of them, and that seemed to work better. The bigger the volume of unit is and you mix that, it's like as more heat builds up in it, more reaction starts taking place. So small batches is still the ticket. It's just I went ahead and put hardener in 2 of them at once and mixed them when I got down to this last big sheet right here. Well, that's where I'm at. I'm really enjoying this project. I'll let these set and get dry to touch, move them somewhere else, and here in a little bit I'm going to start the panels here behind me for the other side of the boat.